Welcome, everybody, to today's episode of The Lindsey Elmore Show. Today, I speak with Jayne Sanders, who is a Master Hand Analyst who helps people to understand what their hands can say about their life, their mission, the lessons that they'll learn in lives, and sort of even go beyond the lifeline and loveline and really get deep into what creates our life in the best way that it can possibly be by seeing ourselves authentically in our hands. I was so inspired by my conversation with Jayne that I actually took advantage of the offer that she is offering to all of you and did a full scientific hand analysis with her. It included looking at my handprint. So she sent me a kit. I got a 1-hour analysis from her, as well as a 1-hour follow-up call that allowed me to ask questions and got her to give me some advice on how to implement all of the lessons that she had taught me. I very strongly encourage you to take advantage of what Jayne is offering. She's offering $200 off the regular price of $497. So for less than $300, you're getting an inside sneak peek into who you are because it's all written right there on your hands. Let's get to the show. Welcome to The Lindsey Elmore Show, a podcast that helps you find fulfillment amidst chaos. On this show, I interview thought leaders, doctors, creatives, spiritual gurus, and game changers who inspire you to pursue your dreams, overcome obstacles, and leave your mark. My guest today is Jayne Sanders. She is a Master Scientific Hand Analyst with 3 coaching certificates: Purpose, Law of Attraction, and is a spiritual life coach. Her work has been featured in Forbes magazine, and she uses the analysis of hands to help leaders, business owners, and teams learn to love their lives and their work. She uses hand analysis and her proprietary coaching to help reveal purpose, special gifts, and blind spots, and then guides you into inspired meaning, allowing you to live a life of passion and fulfillment in both your professional life and your personal life. She maintains that scientific hand analysis can help to create better teams and can be a big benefit to entrepreneurs. When she is not doing her purpose work, Jayne can be found out riding trails on her beautiful Arabian Appaloosa horse, Darby, and eating dark chocolate. And sometimes she is even skilled enough to do both at the same time. Jayne Sanders, welcome to the Lindsey Elmore Show.
Thank you, Lindsey. I'm excited to be here. Can't wait to talk to you about this stuff.
This is something I have never heard about. So I was researching a little bit about hand analysis, and you say that hand analysis can help entrepreneurs and businesses understand how to make leaders more effective, how they can keep their employees longer, how do we improve job satisfaction and morale, and simply looking at our handprints can provide greater teamwork, productivity, alliance, creativity, and innovation. And so how on earth does a Master Scientific Hand Analyst look at someone's hands and understand who they are?
Well, interesting, Lindsey, the lines in your hands mimic the neural pathways in your brain.
They do?
So they do. And this is a very robust, very reliable system, extraordinarily accurate, so much so that Forbes wrote about it. And the reason I can identify all those qualities that you mentioned is because It's in your hands. It's very comprehensive, very profound. And it's kind of like, what are those, like Myers-Briggs or Strength Finders, one of those, but on steroids, because it also identifies people's innate life purpose and their special gifts. So imagine if you get your team members, employees, lined up with their purpose and gifts. In other words, you're assigning projects and positions based on their innate qualities. Their engagement is going to deepen, their productivity is going to increase, and will retention. So There's a lot of corporate benefits to it.
So, okay, how on earth did you even get into hand analysis? Who taught you how to do this? Like, what kind of training? And just you didn't begin in this realm. So how did you learn about this? And what drove you to even be inspired to learn it?
So excellent question. I mean, I'm corporate background. I have an MBA. I've had 3 careers prior to this one and was never really happy, Lindsey. At first I was, but then after a few years, I would just hit a wall and I was bored, unfulfilled. I knew I was supposed to be doing something different, but I couldn't figure out what. And career coaches couldn't help me. And I filled out all the forms and all the assessments and read all the books and just wasn't doing it for me. So after, or in the middle of the 3rd career, which I was a professional speaker in that one, and all 3 were successful, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to be happy.
Right.
So I just got one of those proverbial wake-up calls, a cosmic 2-before, to get me really working on it. Both of my parents died within 3 months of each other. And it was like, okay, life's short. I got to quit farting around and figure out what I'm really meant to do. So I started Googling, how do I find my life purpose? I just knew the articulation of that was what I was missing. And I went down a couple of wrong paths, but eventually, after a few months, ran across a headline for a teleseminar, and it read, "Discover Your Innate Life Purpose." And I was like, and I clicked on it, and I saw the words hand analysis, and I was, oh man, I know palm reading's not what I want here. And then I saw the word scientific. So that is very key. There's hand analysis and there's scientific hand analysis. So that one word kind of helped me put aside my anal MBA skepticism. And I really wanted my purpose. So I listened to the teleseminar, sounded very credible to me. I got a hand analysis, changed my life. I mean, I just was so inspired and on fire. And I didn't know that I was meant to do the work. I just knew that it was so accurate. The pieces that I did recognize, it made me trust everything else. And I knew if I took action on the information that I would find my way and get the clarity and the doors would open that I needed. And that's exactly what happened.
Yes.
And it was like, duh, if I was so inspired and on fire before I even knew what to do with the information, I want to help people feel like that.
Oh, I love this. Okay, so tell me, break it down for me. How is this different than palm reading? Because, I remember back as a kid, like your lifeline, your loveline, you got all the things. And I've had my palm read a couple of times, but how is it different? And now I'm sitting here staring at my palms and all I want is your opinion on what it means.
So the main difference, Lindsey, is that with scientific hand analysis, there's no predictions, no fortune telling. It's all either already happened or is happening now. And so things can change. Some of the information, what comes from your fingerprints will never change, just like your fingerprints will never change, right? Or the FBI be in deep doo-doo. But the biggest difference is there's no predictions to it. If somebody says, when am I going to meet Mr. Right? I'm like, I don't know. I hope soon.
Yeah.
But I can tell you what could be keeping you from that. In other words, what things to work on to help increase the possibility of that happening. So that's the biggest difference. And they both are rooted in the ancient technology of palmistry, but this one just goes much deeper into the scientific connection. You know, a neurosurgeon wrote the foreword to the book that was written by the founder of this database of scientific hand analysis. So it's really reliable and accurate.
So talk to us more about the connection between what we see on our hands and what's going on in our brain. And how did they figure this out? Where's the science behind it?
So there's all kinds of medical correlations, and the science really is that this guy who created it spent 40 years and analyzed over 30,000 hands, which is more subjects than any FDA-approved drug out there.
Truth.
To put the system together. So when something didn't fit, he tossed out his, supposition of what the mark meant. So the lines in your hands are what mimic the neural pathways in the brain. So over time, if your thought patterns change or your behavior patterns change, and it changes enough to rewire neural pathways in your brain, it can also change the lines in your hands. Not in a huge way. You might not notice it. I would, as a hand analyst. A couple of and there's a lot of similar terminology as well. Like there's lifeline in scientific hand analysis. There is the heart line, which is this kind of the same as the love line, but it's more your relationship style.